My apologies, that was an interruption. This is part 2B after a very short part 2A of this series. I'm not going to say anything more, but simply pick up where we left off, which is that we see Tuka the commoner, Eamon the monster hunter, and Icenius the pagan mystic being poled on flat-bottom boats across the fens, along with Tuka's mule Benus. And I think what we probably see is a montage of this journey through the fenland, narrow waterways, with high reeds, and then areas of open bog. And I think that we pick up the characters as they approach the nearest road, the ancient Roman road of Ermine Street, and begin to make their way north, looking for a break in the hills and woodlands that will take them west in the direction they need to go. And what I'd like to suggest is that while the Roman road is in remarkable condition, given that it's perhaps 200 years since it was last maintained regularly, there are places where erosion has caused it to slide away. And so at places, the track meanders through woodland. And so what I'd like to do is to place the characters meandering along a diversion away from the main Roman road north. And I'd like each of them, please, shall we do it in whichever order you like? I'd like you all to roll to face danger, please. I want to see if you notice anything.
Can you give us a roll for your party link, please?
Oh, sorry, I can. There it is. Hardly modern emu. So go ahead, the three of you, make your roll.
What stat is it based on?
Face danger is plus steel.
All right. I rolled a very stout 2. So I guess I got
so in a moment I'll ask you what is distracting Icenius, but what about Tuka and Eamon?
Tuka got a 7.
Okay.
I have a 6.
My goodness me, plenty of mark experience early in the game then. Tuka, no, let me ask a different question. Icenius, what are you doing that distracts Eamon?
I've been in the swamp for a long time, and goddamn, this cheese is good.
Fine. Tuka, what's the first indication you have of a threat in the woodland?
I think that there's a sound and movement of birds in the woodland in an area that doesn't seem normal to me. That something has perhaps startled or spooked those birds over there.
So there's an explosion of birds that you turn towards, I presume. Now the hard choice, Tuka, is you can be ready for something to happen, or you can warn one of the others. Which is it?
I think I warn Eamon that something seems to be amiss off in the woods. Okay, so Eamon attention is drawn towards these birds, but Tuka, you are now as surprised as Icenius when arrows begin to thump into the trees around you. Eamon, you're the only one able to act. What do you do?
I want to defend Tuka.
Fine. Would you roll to protect then, please?
Yes, if I figure out what I have to roll for that.
That's plus savage.
Savage. okay-ish at savage. Yeah, while talking. Oh wow, I rolled a useful 2.
And no one can help because you're the only person aware. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that.
Oh wait, can I spend a point of fate or luck or
Aha!
something? Aha! Yeah, I want to do that because I don't want to fail this. This is no. I want to protect Tuka.
You already owe Tuka too many debts.
Don't care. That's not why I want to protect her.
Fine. So you spend a point of fate, which improves the outcome from fail to marginal success.
Yes.
So on 7+, you protect them by taking some or all of the harm that they would have taken.
I'm taking the harm.
Fine. So I think that you throw yourself. Oh no, you tell me. How are you protecting her?
She tells me. She says something like, "Look," or something, and as I'm drawing as I'm fumbling because I've been distracted by this whole cheese thing. As I'm fumbling for my axe, I will move in front of her, and then, well, I guess I got pierced by an arrow or 2.
You do. Will you take 1 point of harm, please? You are winged by an arrow.
Okay.
That would otherwise have struck Tuka in the middle of her chest.
I guess my armor doesn't help in that.
Yes, it does.
No, I've got an armor that is called duck and dive, so
I see.
Getting out of the way, so that probably won't apply here.
I think not, given the state of surprise. It will apply going forward. Before I ask Icenius and Tuka what they're going to do, because they are slightly kind of just looking around a bit kind of wide-eyed, can I go to Ulfric, please? Ulfric, you've been making your way north, following rumours of spirits and shades, and seeking out some clue to the death of your sister.
Yep.
And you're making your way through some woodland when you hear the thunk, thunk, thunk of arrows. What do you do?
Is it like really close to me or sort of further away? Or
Within 20, 30, 40 paces, just out of sight through the trees.
I'll sort of roll and get my axe out as I'm coming back up and look around, just looking for movement.
The arrows are not aimed at you. They are coming from 20 or 30 paces through the woodland. What do you do?
I'll run in that direction.
So back with Eamon. Eamon, you were winged by that. So I'm going to ask first now, is Synhamm or Tuka? I think Tuka is probably closest to becoming aware of what's going on. Tuka, what do you do? You are muted.
We are on the road, correct? Now you're muted.
You're on a trail.
Yeah. I think what Tuka does is she's going to try to get quickly off the trail and behind some type of cover, and try to put herself in a position to get a better view of who these assailants are, but also kind of trying to get to some place of where she's not quite as exposed.
It would be relatively easy for you to take 2 or 3 steps to behind one of the trees where one of these arrows has thunked. What do you do with Bennis the mule?
I think I
while you're thinking about that, I'll go to Icenius. Obviously, Bennis has distracted you slightly. Icenius, what do you do?
I clutch the hunk of cheese to my chest, and I roll I imagine I was just kind of sitting on something. I don't know how big these boats are, but can't be too big. And I just kind of
remember, you're off the boats. You're on the trail now. You're moving cross country.
Oh, I missed that part. I drop and roll to kind of like a crouching position that puts Eomen between the arrows and me, if they're coming one direction. I may act haughty, but I'm still a 12-year-old child.
You are indeed.
And I am preparing a spell. I want to cast like a wind spell that's going to cause all the arrows to disperse.
Let me come to that in a moment. Let's go from that close up of you rolling and taking cover in Eamon's shadow back to Tuka with Bennis's lead rain bit in her hand. What's Tuka going to do?
Well, I think with Bennis, I drop the lead and I give Bennis a little swat to get Bennis to run a little further up the road.
I think that's quite a feat in the circumstances. Face danger, please.
And the face danger is with steel.
It is.
That ends up being a 10.
Yes, the idea of a stampeding mule was attractive, but on a 10, Bennis trots up the trail in a controlled way, out of the way of these arrows, and with a 10, I think you have a chance to take cover as well, as you described. Okay, fine. Let me then go to Ulfric, who's charging towards the sound of the guns, so to speak. Ulfric, you burst into a clearing, a little bit of where the trail widens a little bit, and you can see a mule trotting into the distance, while a woman and a girl take cover, and a Celtic man is facing the direction of the arrows. What do you do?
So there's arrows, so I try and look for where the arrows came from, and I'm sort of scanning that just visually at the minute.
Okay, let's see. Should I ask you to? No, I'll yeah, look about you. Look about you. Roll plus sense.
Sweet, it's a great way to start. 6.
You can see the arrows are coming from over there, but you can't be entirely certain where there is an archer. Eamon, what are you going to do?
What the hell? There are people in those trees and they are firing at us, right? I mean, I don't know why they're doing this, but I'm assuming bandits.
And a large Saxon man has just charged into the clearing.
Is he charging at me or at the people in the bushes?
He's stopped and he's looking in the same direction as you.
I'm not assuming now that they will stop firing. That guy isn't charging at me, so I'll take out my axe and I'll charge at the bushes where the arrows came from, because I've been wounded now and hiding won't achieve anything. I mean, I try to get to zigzag around some cover, but if there's, I mean, I'm reckless, right? So yeah, reckless, go, charge, woo!
Indulge your reckless, get a point of fate back.
Yay! Cool.
And so I think probably let's just have you charge in the direction of the arrows. I think in the first instance, you are just running towards that tree line, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ulfric, the man who was facing the arrows is now running towards that tree line where you have seen the arrows coming from. What do you do?
Well, they're not attacking me. They don't look like. Yeah, no, I'm going to follow them.
I was going to say, now you're in sight. An arrow thunks into the ground at your feet.
Yeah. No, I'm going to follow them. They look like they're going to attack the archers. So, yeah, that sounds good.
Let me go to Icenius. Eamon and a stranger are running towards in the direction of the archers. What do you do?
So I call on I grip my knife, the knife that you said that I picked up from the hall, and I like squeeze it into my palm so that blood drips down, and I call on the spirits of the wind to. So I'm asking them to divert the arrows, and maybe this is a second action, but also to help guide my Eoman's blade.
I think probably that is a second invocation of the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So at the minute, it is to blow those arrows astray. Yeah?
Yeah.
And I'm presuming you're using use magic.
Yes. Yeah.
So
that was one harm automatically, right?
Yep,
So,
that's right.
Under the harm thing, by the way, the drop-down menu, it's all dates. It's not like...
One of these days, I will get all of these characters to be right. So I'll correct that in a moment. Just bear that in mind.
Yeah, and so are we counting down or counting up when we do harm?
Currently, you all have 8. So,
right, so
you would take one of 8. Yeah.
Oh, one of 8. Okay.
1 of 8.
Okay. And here's my roll. Let's see. Hopefully I do better than 2 ones. I got an 8. What is it? It's soul. So 10. Yeah. You're muted.
On a 10, it works as you expect. And so what I think we will see is Eamon running towards the tree line as arrows come towards him. And then there is a gust of wind and they whiz past one side or the other, unless you've got a better description. Now you're muted.
Yeah. So I just see them coming to him. Like one of them's literally gonna like pierce his chest, and then suddenly it just like the gust of wind, it goes, it like just like spirals away. It's this like dramatic kind of like totally being tossed aside.
That's fine. I'm not going, I think, yes, Eamon is not questioning this immediately, but it does seem odd. Ulfric, I don't think that they're targeting you specifically, so I'm not going to give you a risk of being hit. I simply then want to have Eamon and Ulfric crash through the undergrowth in this direction and ask Tuka what she does.
I think after Tuka sends Bennis down the trail, she takes out her knife and she joins the charge.
Brilliant. So it'll take her a round or so to catch up. So I think Eamon was first off. So Eamon, you burst through the undergrowth and find a man dropping his bow and drawing a large knife. What do you do?
Well, he's drawing a knife. That clears the situation up nicely. I mean, he could have been a starving peasant who would then ask for mercy, and then he would, of course, be given it. But since he's drawing a knife and he has a bow and a knife, that means he's not that starving. I'm gonna hit him with my axe, obviously.
So roll plus savage to fight, please.
Yeah, I'm not really that good at savage. Yeah, I'm at 6. Damn.
Fate?
Yeah, I've got fate. Let's use fate. Cool.
Because I think that it is only just, given that your heroic trait is justice, I think that when people fire at you, you should hit them. Okay, so that fail becomes a partial success.
Cool.
So when you fight something, inflict harm on one another as established. So how much damage does your axe do? I can't remember.
I can't remember either. I think +2.
That would make sense. He is unarmored, so both points will go through, and your the range of your axe is greater than the reach of his knife. So I think you do 2 points of harm to him and take him out before.
Yeah, but I have. Oh, it's a bow. Sorry, I have an axe to harm hand. It's hand. It's not great to reach. So.
Oh, right, yeah. So it's not a great axe or anything. No, it isn't. That's right.
No, it's
Okay,
not
so
axe.
so
Not
shall
rich.
we say that you take 1 harm,
Mm.
but I think your duck and dive
Yes.
might apply this.
Yes, this time it applies.
Tell us about your duck and dive move, just so we all know about it.
I will read it because I seem to. It's when I fight, I have a good eye for what's going on around me, so I add +1 armor to represent the blows you avoid, which is merely that Eamon knows how to handle himself in the fight and how to get out of harm's way for a bit.
Do you want to narrate that little exchange so we can see duck and dive in the movie?
Cool. Yeah, this guy, he has a knife and he's snarling, and Eamon is looking very concentrated, really. And he's up with his axe. It's not a great axe. It's a one-handed. I think it's a one-handed thing, but he goes up to him, and there is a little bit of positioning going on while they both just try to hit each other, and Eamon gets out of the way of the knife, and then with one blow, the other guy doesn't get out of the way of the axe and is felled to the ground. So,
do you want him killed or just...
No, I just unconscious is fine.
Okay. Ulfric, a very similar situation, but you're slightly behind. So your potential target has dropped the axe, dropped the bow, and is hefting an axe and shield when you break into his bit of cover. What do you do?
Oh. Does he have them ready, or is he just pulling them out, sort of thing?
I'm afraid because you set off slightly behind Aemon. Yes, he is. He's ready.
Yep. All right. I'll say no. Stop firing at a child and take me on. And this is as I'm just running straight at him.
That sounds like 2d6 plus savage to fight.
Okay, so 2.
I'm sorry. So he's attacking the person that Eoman just...
No, a second bowman.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
7.
Is my spell still in effect?
No, you had that effect. The arrows have been whisked away. I'll come back to you in a moment once I've dealt with Ulfric.
7.
So on 7 to 9, you exchange harm. So his axe is 2. I can't remember what you're wielding.
Yeah, same.
Fine. So how much armor in total do you have?
I've got a shield and scavenged armor, so 2 points.
So he's not going to do any harm on you. He has a shield, so he's able to buff it away 1 blow, but the second blow will do a point of stress. Do you want to narrate what we see?
I think we're kind of just bashing on each other's shield and deflecting it. I'm just yelling at him, "Come at me!"
I think he probably will. I'm going to go to Icinius, then I'll come to Tuka. Icinius, you've seen Eamon disappear into the undergrowth and followed a little way away by this stranger, clearly not pursuing Eamon. What do you do?
I move in behind where Eamon disappeared to. I'm not charging, but I am moving quickly. And I'm the spirits that I just asked to with the wind, or that I'm asking them where the other threats are. So I'm invoking the other world.
Right. So you're going to look about you in a moment to see what's what in terms of spirits. I think before we get to that, because Tuka was charging, Tuka, you will burst into the undergrowth behind Eamon and see a third attacker about to attack Eamon from behind. What do you do?
I think Tuka, without any thought whatsoever, immediately charges at that figure.
Let's see how that goes. Would you roll plus savage to fight this? The good news is that they're intent on Eamon, not on you.
And would my what could go wrong move apply? Impetuously charging in?
I think there's no question that this is exactly what that move is designed to stimulate. So tell us about that move, just so we all know about it.
Okay, so whenever I impetuously charge into immediate danger, I get to hold 2, chosen between inflict 1 harm, reduce the harm suffered by someone else by 1, or roll to face danger with advantage.
Fine. So do you want to be protecting Eamon or attacking the assailant?
I think probably mainly to protect Eamon, and since Eamon is being caught from behind, yeah, to do something that would equalize things for him.
Fine. Then I think roll to protect someone. It's still plus savage, but the outcomes will be a little different.
Okay. So that is a 7.
So that's a good result. On a 7+, you protect them by
no, I take that back. I rolled a 7, but let me just make sure. I think it may end up being that's actually going to be a 6.
At the minute, I'm struggling, unless you can convince me, I'm struggling to see a case for spending fate around trust on this one. Can you convince me?
I mean, I think that the trust would be going back to the fact that Eamon had put himself at risk for me when the arrows were flying, that I would have kind of caught up on that. And we have been somewhat at cross purposes a little bit. There's been some antagonism, but that this would be somehow seen as it's only fair that I offer some reciprocation.
Okay, I'll go with that. So do you want to spend a point of fate?
Yeah, I think that might be a good idea.
Okay, that turns that fail into a marginal success, which means that you protect them by taking some or all of the harm they would have taken. But you do have the option to use your what could go wrong advantages. You've got a choice of 2. Reduce the harm suffered and roll to face danger with advantage, which could get you out of this and still protect Eamon.
Yeah, and the reduce the harm suffered by someone else. It's by someone else, right? Suffered by somebody else.
It is, but because you're protecting someone, that harm is coming your way. So okay. It does apply.
Okay. Yeah, so I think I would do that one and the roll to face danger with advantage.
Fine. So you attack him or distract him. The blow that would have come down on Eamon's shoulder, instead the assailant diverts and tries to hit you. It's a glancing blow. Can your face danger dodge it entirely?
So I'm going to roll again, but this one with a 3rd, correct?
Or re-roll the one that's lowest. Up to you.
I guess let me just roll one more die in here. That's what I'll do. That was a 6. So I have a 6 and a 5 then.
No, you need you need to re-roll the base 2.
Oh,
yeah?
I need to, okay.
Yeah, it's a new roll. So you've got 6 in the box, but re-roll the 2 and the 5.
Okay. So I now have 2 6s.
Well, that's a good result. Describe, because Tuka is a kind of farm girl. Describe what tells the audience there is much more to this woman than so far we've been led to believe, because that's just stunning.
Yeah, and this doesn't do any harm to this individual, but I think what you do is you see her attracting the attention of this figure, and I think first you see a couple things. You see, first of all, this figure was not expecting this assault coming from a completely other direction. And it not only surprises him, but you see Tuka not landing a blow with the knife, but with her other hand, kind of giving him a punch in the gut and a little sweep of the legs that has him not necessarily injured, but clearly physically kind of wobbling right now.
Fine. So we have the off balance assailant. I think, what does Eamon want to do? Because now this has gone on behind Eamon. What does Eamon do? You've got a felled assailant in front of you, and one that was about to hit you, but has been distracted very effectively by Tuka. What do you do, Eamon?
Well, there's, as I see, there are still two guys around, right? The one that's fighting with Ulfric, who seems to be able to handle him, and he has a shield anyway. And the other guy who has been distracted by Tuka, and he wanted to hit me from behind. Well, I'm not behind him, but I'm going to return the favor and hit him. And
so roll to fight. I'm going to give
Yes.
you advantage with this because I think
Cool.
Tuka rolled so well to put him off balance.
Yeah, okay. I'm rolling this one. This is the additional one. That's the 5, and I'm rolling the other 2 again. Yeah, I've got a 12. No, a 13 was Tuka's help.
What would you like to do to this assailant? You can do
I would-
anything you like on that roll.
I would like to strike him down, please. Because I've been trained with this weapon I've just discovered, and I mean, he's a bit discombobulated. He's like a bit out of balance, and let's take advantage of that. I'm ducking a little, and then I'm hitting him with the head of the axe beneath the chin, like, oh, and then he falls over like a fat tree.
Okay. We don't need to go for graphic violence, but if you want to throw some in, you're very welcome.
That was not graphic violence. Nobody's bleeding.
Okay. So, but is he dead or is he unconscious?
No, he's not dead. He's unconscious.
Okay.
Probably.
Ulfric, your assailant is still active. What do you do?
Does it look like he's going to run, or is he still sort of in the grill? Or
I think that he has seen about 10 paces away two of his fellows taken down, and so I think he's going to run for it.
all right, I'm going to kind of pretend to give him an opportunity, and then try and hack his leg off as he goes to stop him.
Okay. I think that's probably face danger rather than a straightforward fight.
Okay. Yeah. 10.
There is definitely something wrong with these dice rolling rooms at the minute in every game I'm in. So yeah, you take him down so he doesn't get to run away, and you can. He's bleeding from this wound to his leg.
Just knock him out with the end of the axe, sort of thing.
I don't think you'll have to be honest. I mean, he's incapacitated he's grasping his calf where he's bleeding profusely from that.
I'll look around cases anymore.
Fine. Good point. Icenius, you arrive to find Tuka and Eamon standing over 2 assailants, and just a little way over there, the stranger standing over another one, nursing his crushed knee or bleeding calf. What do you want to do?
Yeah, so this is weird that there's this fourth, there's this other person here. What was the loon's name?
Sisha, who's hiding
Sisha.
behind a tree trunk back on the trail.
Yeah. So I just quickly glance over to her to make sure she's safe, and then I come back, and I see this new character. I want to whisper in his mind, and I want to know if he's a friend or foe. I mean, he appears to be a friend. I mean, he's fighting the same enemy, but I'm not foolish enough to automatically think that he's a friend. So I want to whisper in his mind to toss his weapons towards Eomen, and to declare his allegiance. Not declaring allegiance to us, but to like say, I am with so and so. You know, and you're muted.
So when you read people's thoughts or try to put ideas in their mind, you roll as normal. So you are seeking to convince him to throw down his weapons. Am I right?
Yes.
Then the thing about this is that it's an urge to do it, but they won't know that urge comes from you. So let us have you roll to convince, please.
What is convince? It is. So I rolled a 3. I rolled a 3.
You roll plus subtle. So 3 plus subtle, which doesn't sound like it's going to work much.
No, a 4 plus subtle, so 3. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yes, you are very subtle, aren't you? Even when you whisper in people's minds. Ulfric, you see the little boy who's come into the clearing, and we've established in the fiction that when he does his spirit stuff, his eyes roll back in his head. And though his lips don't move, you hear him say, "Who are you? Throw down your weapons." What do you do, Ulfric?
I sort of slowly walk towards them, and I'm putting my weapons away. Icinius would see I've got pagan runes carved into my arms, and I say, my name is Ulfric, I follow the old ways. Did you expect this trouble?
Icinius, what do you do? Because clearly he knows what you just did.
I stand up. I stand up straight, and I say, "No, we are journeying to so and so."
Elmete.
I'm sorry. One more time.
Elmete, I think.
Yeah, we are journeying to Elmete. Synhamm is endangered, and I look, like, I obviously look up and down your arms, and I say, we could use the aid of another. Like, what would the term be? Like, true believer is not the right term, but something that would indicate that I recognize his.
I think that you recognize he's not a Christian.
Yeah.
And you know, there's Christians and there's the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So his runes don't indicate to me that he's a good guy, like by my standards.
He's not a believer in your Celtic old gods. You would put him down as a pagan Saxon.
Okay.
Which is still probably better than a Christian.
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah, I just tell him that, and I like stand up straight. I actually stand up on a fallen tree log, so I'm actually standing up as tall as everybody else.
Fine. What's your response to that, Ulfric?
I am traveling that way, so I'm happy to accompany you. And I sort of say to the other two, I'm glad your son is safe.
He's not my son. He's a ward, sort of. I'm Eamon. Yeah, and this is my friend Tuka, and this is Isenius, also a friend.
But it appears someone, well, I mean, it may be random, but it may appear someone doesn't like you. I'm happy to help you in your journey.
That would be nice, because we're on a diplomatic mission, I guess, from Synhamm to, as he said, to Elmete. And these might be, I don't know, these might be Lindsey's guys, or they're just robbers, or they're friends of the last robbers I fought.
We should probably check the bodies for orders.
We could ask them. These guys are still alive, so we can just ask them.
Before you move to the next kind of step, when someone tries to convince a player character and fails, the player character marks experience if they decide not to do it. Now, Ulfric did not drop his weapons and declare his allegiances, so Ulfric marks experience. Do you want to question the honor of this boy, who's clearly trying to mess with your head, Ulfric?
No, because it's just a boy.
Absolutely, fine.
I've just fought a threat. He's not a threat, so.
That's fine. So you're now going to question your captives. Am I right? How does that look?
Okay. I guess we'll take one of these guys who are knocked out and shake them around for a bit until they regain consciousness, and unless somebody says, hey, I'm more subtle, hey, I'm better at talking to people than you, I will ask him, hey, what was that about?
I think one of them is the one that Ulfric slashed the leg of. I think maybe bleeding out, but certainly you have two others that you can rouse, and they are Saxon, and they say, I'm not talking to you, you Celtic dog.
Okay. Ulfric, sorry, this guy doesn't talk to Celts. Can you maybe ask him what that was about?
Yeah. Probably start by punching him in the face and then say, talk, who told you to do this?
That gives me a flavor. That gives me a flavor for the nature of the interrogation. Alejandro, you're not muted again.
I want to do whisper in the mind again, more just listening to what their thoughts are behind the questions. So you know the whole don't think of a pink elephant type thing. So
okay, so I'll ask you to look about you in a moment. But first of all, I think I'm going to ask Ulfric to roll to convince this person to come clean. Now, I don't think it's in your playbook, but there is a playbook that says fear me, but I don't think you've chosen that one. So I think it's a straightforward convince. So roll plus subtle.
Just -1. Sweet.
Is there a way to help him? Oh, forget it.
There is always, what do we think about? I think Ulfric. I can't see how trust is going to allow you to spend any fate on this, I have to say. So it looks like they are holding hard against your interrogation.
Well, I have an idea for Tuka, that if Ulfric is trying to, the way I'm imagining this is that Ulfric is really trying to rough up one of them and intimidate him. While he's doing that, if Tuka has the opportunity, I think she will talk to the other one and say, look at what's happening to your friend. You two are in grave danger here if you don't offer some useful information to us. And so I would advise that it is in your best interest to avoid further injury and harm, to immediately realize the grave state you are in and talk.
I think that's excellent fictional positioning to trigger the move. Trust me.
Right. So let me.
So you're going to roll plus subtle.
Right. And my subtle. So I get a 10 with my subtle.
So read us that move. Just tell us what the effects of it are.
So when you tell an NPC the truth about the evil or dark in order to protect them from danger, roll plus subtle. On a 10+, they will do what you say they should, no questions asked.
He spills, with a slight caveat that you know, if you were to just let us go, then you know it would be fine. But what he spills is that they have been sent by the Lord of Torksey, whose name actually is also Ulfric. Ulfric the Fish of Torksey is an ally of King Beda of Lindsey, your nemesis, and they were sent to intercept you. They knew you'd be coming this way. Or at least the Fish of Torksey knew that you'd be coming this way.
Yeah, that's a problem now. I mean, if they were just robbers, we could let them go, but if they were aimed at us, letting them go is maybe a bad idea. I don't know. But I'm not one for just stabbing a man's head in when he's, I don't know, when he's helpless.
So what do you do?
Yeah, I'm putting this to the group, actually. That's what Eamon says. I don't know. What are we going to do with these guys? They're a danger to us, but I'm not the guy to murder innocent. I'm not the guy who murder helpless people. Sorry.
Can they hear this conversation, or are you having this?
They can hear this. Sure, they can hear this. I don't mind. They don't talking. They wouldn't talk to me because I'm a Celt. They can totally hear this.
I'll say we can knock them out, so at least get a head start.
Are they pagan or are they Celt? Or are they? What is their?
They're Saxon pagans. They're Saxon. Therefore, in this part of the country, they are by default pagan. They believe in Woden and the other Aesir.
Great.
Can I whisper in their minds and like put like nightmares in their minds, like in their like I want to terrify them with images of betraying us?
I suppose what I'm interested in, because they could go back to Torksey and have nightmares.
No, like right now, like they like have visions of the old gods exacting retribution for betraying us.
I suppose what I want to be clear about is what is your aim with this move? Simply to terrify them in place.
To terrify them so that they are, so that we can let them go and know that they put the fear of God in them, literally, to not betray us, to not follow us, to not attack us again, to not expose us.
Okay. Then roll your move. Spending harm again, I guess?
Yes.
Oh, no, you're using your Whisper into the Mind, aren't you? Which is not use magic, sorry.
Yeah, but I would incorporate magic in order to, like, so I want to combine Whisper the Mind with magic to give it like a, you know.
I think what you need to do then is to look at the use magic effects and tell me which one you're going to use. Because you are basically convincing them using magic. Yeah, using your move.
Yeah.
But if you want to, and that move is bound by the move as described. You can't combine the two moves. You can't use magic and convince. Are you convincing or using magic? And if using magic, I need to know which of those effects, because I'm not certain.
Well, I'm kind of interpreting communicate with someone as something without words. So like I'm communicating this.
But to be honest, you might as well use Whisper in the Mind to convince.
Okay.
I'm struggling a bit to see which one you're going to get them to do something against their will, other than using convince, whether you do that with magic or not, with your move or not.
Okay, so I'll do Whisper in the Mind then.
Fine. So roll to convince.
4. Another fail.
You lot are not notching up experience like fun. Is there anyone who wants to help? Because, of course, there is a possibility.
I don't know that Tuka wants to help, but Tuka will propose a more kind of mundane option. We have Venice, who can carry a load, and I don't see why we can't tie them up, put them over Venice's back, and take them with us. If we get assaulted again, we have two hostages, and if we're getting attacked, we have 2 of their members at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, 2 of them can walk. But I have another idea.
Before you say that, first of all, I don't think you would know what I'm doing, so help wouldn't do anything.
I suppose, given the threatening situation they're in, the fact that they're beginning to think that they should do something might be nudged by
something like, your king cares nothing for you. This is your chance to make a new life and get away. Because I am Saxon and pagan like them, so that may have some sway, and inadvertently it helps Icenius mechanically, sort of thing.
So the roll was pretty appalling, wasn't it? It was kind of 4. So we need two successful helps to get you 3 successful helps. That's looking pretty unlikely, isn't it?
I'm actually thinking that I would like to spend a fate. So
yeah, I could see justice working for that. Yeah, I'll let you spend fate, which takes it to a marginal success, which means that what I'm imagining is this is it's appearing as doubts in their head, and combined with the rest of you saying stuff like, you need to just, don't go north, go south, head away from Torksey. I think I could let that work.
And they're also seeing my eyes turn white, and they know what that means.
Yeah, that's freakish.
I have another proposition for these guys. They could swear an oath. I mean, you guys, you're great on swearing oath to Woden, and I'm looking at Ulfric for confirmation. So if you swore an oath not to attack us again, I would accept that. You could go. And so would he. And I'm pointing to Ulfric, because I think he would.
I can see that working. So what we've got is Whisper in the Minds has edged them in the direction of this is more trouble than we're looking for. And I think if you offer them the chance to swear an oath, then they will go for that. Are you willing to do that, folks?
Yep, that all sounds good.
So we cut then to you seeing them probably stripped of their shields and weapons, just for reasons of security, trudging away southwards, away from Torksey, while you head again north in the direction you need to head. Is there anything you want to do in the next, because let's say that was the middle of the day, anything you want to do with that afternoon before you make camp?
I am simply going to take the bow and arrow, 1 bow and arrows, and ask Eomen to teach me how to use it.
Sure. Yeah, can do that. It's not that hard.
excellent to do while setting up camp. Anything else we want to do before we cut to that camp scene?
I actually want to bind up my arm where I got winged by the arrow. It's not a great wound or anything, but bleeding around is not a good idea anyway.
That's fine, and you can get 1 harm back for simply binding that wound. Anyone else, anything they want to do before we cut to that camp scene?
With Eamon and Tuka, is there anything we should be doing with our debts of honor? I mean, we both were putting ourselves at risk for each other in a somewhat deadly situation.
I certainly think that you earned a debt of honor from Eamon because you distracted what could have been an attack from behind. I'm not sure I see the other one working.
I stood in front of her when the arrow started flying.
You did indeed. You did indeed. So I think you can each add a debt of honor to the other. So that will become +2, -2 in different orders. I think probably you all owe Ulfric a debt of honor now. So Ulfric, you can add each of the other characters, and there's a drop down that will give you +1 debt of honor to each of them. Now, most of what Icinius did was kind of under the water, so to speak. So I'm unless you want to make a case for any debts of honor there, Icinius?
No, I don't. I don't think that there was anything. Maybe Sasha owes me a debt of honor because I keep looking out for her. No, just kidding.
Sorry, I have to ask because we did each other a favor, and I owed Tuka a debt of honor, and now I owe her, and she owes me, but that doesn't really upset the balance in any way, right? I'm not owing her 2 debts, and she owes me no debt. Or is that the way it works?
I think you each have a debt relationship. You could cancel her original debt with what she's just, what you've just done for her.
Okay.
And vice versa, or you can leave them in place.
I don't know. I mean, I have Tuka. I owed Tuka a debt, and now she owes me a debt. Is that how this works?
So exactly. So you can either keep that debt that she owes you, or you can use it to cancel the one that you owed her.
No, I will keep that debt. I like that.
Okay. So shall we cut to that campsite? And I just want to give the characters a chance to interact in any way they want to, really. Anybody want to spend some time with somebody?
Well, I go to Eamon and I ask him to help me. I mean, it's obvious how this works, but how do you actually hit things with it?
Yeah, it's not that hard. I'm going to show you, but I want to. I mean, I can do this on the road. I want to talk to Ulfric a bit. I mean, he's the kind of guy I want to just see who he is and what he's about and why he's out here without a family, because that's kind of unusual. I mean, Eamon isn't the talkative kind of guy, so he probably roped Tuka into this, and he'll ask her. So if she might want to talk to this guy and find out what he's about, because I'm terrible at talking to people.
Well, then I'm going to suggest this conversation is around the campfire. Before the light went, you were doing some tuition, archery tuition with Icinius, but then let's have that conversation around the campfire.
Okay.
As long as someone kicks it off.
Yeah, I'll say you're probably sort of wondering what I'm doing, wandering around on my own. My sister was slain about 6 months ago, and I've been looking for the person that did it, and just trying to find where they've gone and what's happening and track them down. Kind of been traveling around, doing that. She was the only family I had left, so.
You know who it was?
He sort of looks at Icinius and then says, it wasn't a man, it was something else.
Oh, huh.
And
Yeah.
he'll probably sharpen his axe at that point and stare into the fire for a sec.
Well, I mean, Tuka would explain a little bit like what sends us up the road, and would ask, are you aware of some of the political situation of what's going on in this area?
I know a little bit. I know there's always, some king trying to increase their turf and someone else doesn't want that to happen. So, there's always fighting. I've always tried to help people like me that follow the old ways.
Yeah, well, we're from a place called Synhamm, and there's a king to the north of us, King Beda of Lindsey, who has been rattling his swords, as they would say, and threatening us. And we're currently on a mission to go to a kingdom of Elmete to see if we can get some alliance or some help from them under, to help us against the encroachments of King Beda.
Okay.
And does that seem like a worthwhile endeavor to Ulfric?
Yeah. I'm just wondering if one of these kings was the one that killed my parents sort of 18 months ago.
I obviously have a delayed reaction. I cut a piece of cheese off and I hand it to you. You see the cut on my hand. You see like multiple scars on my hands and arms and stuff like that. But you see a fresh cut on my hand. But I'm handing you a piece of cheese, and I say, "Do you have any?" I know totem is the wrong word for this. Setting, but do you have any totems from the creature? I don't say creature, but from that which killed your family.
I don't think I do. So it was no, just the temperature. It went very cold very quickly, and there was something in the shape of a man, but it was like black mist.
So out of character, is there anything I can do to invoke in the mind of the monster to find his monster to kind of try to...
That's interesting. I think that I'd let you try. I might be very sketchy in my answers, but I'm very happy for you to try that.
So as I'm handing you the cheese, do you take the cheese?
Yeah.
So as you go to take the cheese, I grab your hand and my eyes roll back into the back of my head and I start looking.
I'm trusting you. I'm just
So in the mind of a monster, roll plus soul.
I don't know what it is. I rolled a 6 total. Yeah. I'm actually, because I care about this. This is justice. So I'm actually going to invoke fate again.
Can I invoke fate because I want this to happen? It seems like, my gods have put this person on my path, sort of thing.
I think that's fair, because I think you are trusting Icenius here. So yeah, I'm prepared to have you burn some fate on Icenius's behalf. Yeah. So that turns failure into marginal success. I suppose, Icenius, if you wanted to burn fate yourself, you could nudge it up again. Because, again, I think justice, you would be on the side of this. Are you tempted?
Oh, Yeah, I do it without doubt. I'm surrounded by these fool Christians. I need to, this is a brother in spirit, so I'm absolutely going to do that. So
Okay.
I have hold 3.
You have. Would you like to ask some questions?
Yeah. Where is it now? And how can where is it now? I'll do.
You see in your mind's eye a great oak tree, and you believe that which killed Ulfric's sister is in, around, near that tree. It is a tree you would recognize if you saw it again.
What is it planning to do?
Destroy Elmete, the kingdom of Elmete.
Is that where we're headed?
It is.
Yeah. What is its biggest threat?
What does it regard as its biggest threat?
And just so, as this is happening, I'm mumbling what you're telling me, because so I don't know how clearly it comes through, but I am mumbling what you're telling me.
I think that there is a moment when you continue to try and focus on this thing, trying to narrow in on it, and then you see a pair of white eyes, and you know that it thinks you are the greatest threat to it. And I think that probably will shock you out of the trance with your 3 questions answered.
Yeah.
What, if anything, do we want to do with that round the campfire?
So I look at Ulfric, and I out of character. I don't imagine this is going to be the thing, but I look out of character. I go, does this tree? And I describe the tree. Does this relate to your story in any way? Because it is that which took your sister.
Sadly not, I'm afraid, Ulfric. That tree doesn't sound like anywhere near where you've come from or anywhere you've passed in your travels.
No worries. I'll kneel before Arsenius and say thank you, and thank you for the cheese.
Unless anyone's got anything else to say at that point, that would seem, because I've realized I've run on by 30 minutes from when I planned our first break. So shall we take a 10-minute break now? Time flies when you're enjoying yourself. Sorry about that. See you in 10 minutes at about 20 to the hour. Fine. See you then. So, Alejandro, are you content that you will be Blake's nemesis's nemesis?
Oh, Alejandro is very content. I think that I actually also want to indulge my temptation because I need to heal a fate, but I'm not sure how to do that. I was thinking hallucinations and violent rage. I'm really angry and possibly having nightmares about this, thus not allowing me to heal my harm because I have one harm.
I think that works. I mean, I suppose, you know, I kind of apply a fate approach to this, which is if it makes life complicated for you, then it's a reasonable time to indulge your temptation. I was going to suggest next time you reach some civilization that something, you threw a wobbly. But no, I think that's fair because you would normally recover 1 point of that harm by, binding your wounds, blah, 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 blah. I think that if you want to go for a disturbed night and hallucinations, then you don't get a restful night, you don't recover the harm. I think that's a reasonable cost.
I think the others do get their restful night. I'm not going to say they don't, but I would imagine that I do somewhat. Kind of burdensome on them. I'm probably pacing and fidgeting with my cut and mumbling to myself and kind of like looking at the trees and are you one? Are you one? Just kind of lost in these visions.
Okay, well, we'll do that description once Robbie's back on air.
Oh, sorry about Robbie.
Alan, this is reminding me of there was a BBC series called The Celts, with that Enya did the soundtrack for, and I keep having flashbacks of that. It's reminding me a lot of the things that happened in that when they
Well,
showed.
that works for me. I'm flattered by that. Okay, we were just talking about because again, wishing to display the mechanics. Icinius is interested in indulging his temptation, and because he's a pagan mystic, he has 3 temptations: violent rage, guilt, and hallucinations. So, what do you want to describe what that, after the campfire has gone out and people are in their bedrolls trying to stay warm? Do you want to describe what's going on, Icinius?
Yeah. So actually, like almost immediately after that interaction, I like literally just kind of go to my back and roll over and like try to go to sleep. My eyes are open, the white, they're still white, and I'm just like staring off and starting to obsess and perseverate on this issue. And then when everybody else settles down, I just realize I can't sleep, and I get up and I just start pacing, and pacing, and sometimes I like even walk over the dying fire and almost like burning my feet, but just not quite. And I'm mumbling to myself, and then I'm like start like talking to the trees a little bit, and I'm just pacing. So the outcome is I'm gonna get a fate point back, but I don't lose my harm I lost, and I'm also kind of interfering with your all's rest, so I'm just kind of pacing and struggling with this and kind of talking to the trees.
Yeah, I believe that Eamon has a pretty light sleep because he's been out in the wilds by himself for a long time, and he gets you awaken him a few times, but I guess he's maybe already a bit used to you. And when this goes on too long, someone he will say, "Icinius, please go to sleep."
And then I'll go lie down, and then a few minutes later I'm back up doing it again.
Which is a certain way to scare bears away, obviously. But what I think we've agreed then is that what seems fair is that while normally you would get 1 point of harm back for binding wounds and arrest, what we've agreed is that in Icenius's case, this turns into getting a fate point back, but stays the harm to his hand is there until something else happens fictionally to improve it. Okay. And then we see you heading again north, off the road now, because you've diverted from the Fosse Way, which would take you to straight up the road to Lindsey, which you want to avoid. So instead, you're heading east and then north towards the settlement of Synhamm. Synhamm is as close to an independent trading centre, I suppose, as you will find. It doesn't belong to anyone. To the northwest is Elmete, where you're heading. To the east is Lindsey, where you're avoiding. And to the south is the great Saxon Kingdom of Mercia, which again, you have no reason to stray into. So Synhamm is it used to be a legionary fortress, and there are still significant walls, but it's now largely a trading centre. And I'm going to have you arrive there in the middle of the day. Is there anything you want to do in Synhamm?
I think we might re-provision and maybe listen to some rumors. I don't know. Tukar, you can talk to people, right?
Yeah, I think Tuka would say, yeah, I'm interested in talking to people, and I brought some produce with me precisely to kind of see whether people are interested in what we are growing and what we might have to kind of trade with. So this seems like a golden opportunity for me.
Very good.
So
you're back then.
Are you doing this together? Are we going to have a couple of individual vignettes? What are you thinking, folks?
I think I would like to go with Tuka, just to, loom around in the background and be there so people know that they can just cheat her or try something. Just, Also, I want to hear Tuka talk to people.
What about Ulfric and Icenius? What are your plans?
Are there like reward notices or wanted posters sort of thing?
You could certainly make some inquiries around that. Yeah, it's not as organized as that. Word of mouth would be the way to do it. So,
yeah, I just
go on.
Yeah, as if I'm like a troubleshooter looking for rewards to help the community, help people solve problems, that sort of thing. And yeah, just ask around, Sam.
Okay, Icenius, what about you? You've trudged up here after a series of very bad nights.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. I'm uncomfortable. I'm just kind of at Yeoman's heels, and I'm looking around, and I'm just kind of disconnected. I'm just following Yeoman. Yeoman is the only person I know and that I really trust, and despite the Christian effects.
Fine. Well, let me start then by we've seen Ulfric wandering around, in effect looking for work, I think. Would you like to use the look about me move? Roll plus sense.
Six.
Mark experience. I think that what I will tell you is that there is a rumor of raiding on the edge of Elmete.
Right.
Who's being raided and by whom, I think is unclear, but there are raids taking place on the edge of Elmete.
Are we talking bandits or like Viking ships? Or...
It is, well, you're pretty far upstream. Okay. So it's and when we're technically some way from the Age of Vikings yet. So it's It's not clear, but reports are coming out of Elmete of raids on villages. Yeah.
Okay.
What about Tuka? Where do we see Tuka finding stuff out?
Yeah, I think Tuka would see if there's any kind of like a market area in the town, and would kind of use the kind of produce that she's brought with Venus as a kind of foot in the door, as it were, to kind of start up some conversations, kind of let people know that where we're from, and that you know we have been having some good crops of late, and kind of showing what we have. But then also we'll be making some inquiries as to any kind of disturbances or unrest in the area, things that are weighing on people because of you know, any incursions or odd happenings.
Okay. Let's see you're talking to you know, an older woman, much like you in terms of background, and she's trading her produce. Let's have you look about you. So roll plus sense.
So that gives me a 9.
So on 7 to 9, hold 1 and ask me about the location or situation, someone or something in the scene, what might have happened or might happen here. Or choose to add a detail to the scene that changes or enriches the fiction, or ask the GM to do so. What do you want to do?
Well, it strikes me that this city is kind of at a central point between kingdoms. So I think my question would be, given the kind of situation of this town between kingdoms, has there been any news of disturbances or friction happening in this area, perhaps coming from one of the kingdoms that is becoming more militaristic or something?
Yes, I think the answer you will get is, oh yes. There's lots of talk about Lindsey just flexing its muscles, and they've not come near us yet. But north of here, near Elmete, there's talk of them having raided there.
And does there seem to be any reason why it's suddenly flexing its muscles? Because we've had similar experiences down where we come from.
Or you know, that's for the lords to worry about. All I know is what I've heard, she says.
And I think Tuka will look to Eamon, who maybe has been standing in the background, and says, Eamon, did you hear that? It sounds like Lindsey is not just directing possible attention towards us, but it seems that they seem to be feeling perhaps that it can expand on multiple fronts.
That seems kind of reckless, I guess. I mean, if I want, okay, I would do that, but it doesn't seem good strategy. You fight one enemy and then you fight the next one. It's just sense. Maybe something's making them. Oh, maybe they have a demon advisor or something like that. That could be it.
I think you've triggered help there. because what you're doing is you're trying to process this information in the picture of everything else. So if you successfully help with subtle, because it is a social situation, unlikely as that seems, were you to successfully help, I think I might let you nudge that 9 into a 10 and ask another question formally in the marketplace.
I'm just babbling. I have to.
Mark experience or mark experience and spend fate.
I'm not spending fate. That's not that important. I mean,
no, that's fine. So Icinius, what about you? Because you said you were wandering about, on Eamon's heels. Do you want to do anything specific?
No, so one of the questions I asked was, where is the monster now? And then you gave me a tree. Where are we in relation to that location?
I think the difficulty is, unless you could describe that tree to someone who's seen it.
Okay, so it's not like a beacon. It's not
you're not following a compass. You've got that picture. If you see it, you'll recognize it. If you described it, somebody else might recognize it.
Yeah, no, I just take an apple off a cart, like next to wherever we're at, and start eating it.
The fact that Icinius endlessly just steals food means provisions last much longer, so that's fine. Okay.
I'm not stealing anything. I'm just taking. I'm hungry.
I think I want you to roll to face danger, please, because I'm just curious, how do people react to this if they see you? So let's see. So that's roll plus steal.
I rolled an 11. I think I take an apple and somebody goes to challenge me, and I just like look at them, and they're like.
I think that's lovely. Yeah, there's a slight flicker in the whites of the eyes, and that's enough for them. Thank you very much. Okay, what do you want to do? Anything else in Danum, or do you want to move on?
I really would like to talk to Icinius. Sorry, Blake, go ahead.
I was just going to say, before I catch up with them, like if I see them down in the street, I'm just going to have a look around, make sure no one's watching them first, and then I approach them. Because I met them being attacked, so I'm kind of expecting someone to be looking out for them.
Okay, I think that's look about you. So roll plus sense.
Six.
No, they're as safe as houses. Mark experience. I don't know. I mean, you could justify trust as a means to spend fate if you wanted to, but it's up to you. Okay, so no, they're safe as houses. There's nobody watching them. Everybody's watching everybody else, in fact. It's like nobody's watching them. But then, Eamon, you were about to, I think, say something?
Yeah, I want to have a talk as we're going. I want to talk to Icinius a bit because I'm worried about him, and I want to address that. So
Go ahead.
So I'll walk next to him and say, Icinius, I'm a bit worried about you. I mean, you're not sleeping, and the whole eye rolling thing, I don't know if that's good for you, really. I mean, as I said, you're not sleeping. You seem restless. You seem unhappy.
The gods are watching out for us.
Yeah, but sometimes, I don't know, guess you need more than some gods need watch out for you. And, I'm willing to do that.
I go to my hand and I'm picking at my hand. It's healing, but way slower than it should be. And I haven't even bandaged it or anything like that. So I just start picking at my hand and I say, I am a tool of the gods.
You're a kid. You shouldn't be anyone's tool. And I'm taking your hand just so you stop picking at it. And I'm not forcing this or anything, but just touching it. So please, Icinius, be a little bit more careful with yourself.
I I look at you. I make eye contact with you, like solid eye contact with you, and I say, "Thank you."
Yeah. And I really want a comfort and support move now, but there isn't one, right?
The closest we have is, have you done enough there for Icinius to owe you a debt?
I think, yeah, from the beginning.
How does that feel to you, Icinius? Having someone care for you?
Weird. It feels really weird. And I feel like in this moment, I'm like kind of getting that this relationship is a little bit, at least it's for him, it's becoming a little bit more than just, you know, Iamon being the acts of a god. You know, it's more like, well, no, maybe this person actually does care of it. So it's a little bit more just kind of clicking. So I buy that.
Okay.
So do I do a +1 then, or increase it by 1?
So I think, just make sure I've understood this right. I think that Eamon has demonstrated sufficient care for Icinius to owe Eamon a debt. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you would put Eamon -1, you owe him a debt, and Eamon would put Icinius +1, they are owed a debt.
So if I'm already at -1, I would go to -2.
You would. And, you know, those are numbers of debts, not a kind of big debt.
Okay.
Yeah. So Eamon would have the option to tug on that debt, to use the Monster Hearts analogy, to tug on that debt twice. Okay.
And also, as like we're kind of moving off, I grab Eomen's hand and I put an apple in her hand, and then I just kind of move on. Like I don't give her a chance unintentionally. I don't give him a chance to reject the apple.
I wouldn't have. I'm saying just thank you, and then I'm biting the apple because, come on, having food is a good thing, and it's not something that Eamon always has had. So he won't deny food.
So that night, I think I see you in what passes for an inn, which is really an alewife with a barn. So Bennis is, you know, well cared for. We've seen Tucker brushing Bennis down, taking the load off. And then I see all of you, I guess, over a cup of weak ale, because nobody drinks the water, frankly. A cup of weak ale in the lean-to beside this barn where you'll be spending the night. Do you want to do anything with that, or do you want to move on?
I would just say before he goes to bed each night, he'll pray to sort of a bunch of pagan gods, and he'll kind of just gently trace the runes on his arm, and sort of between each god tap upon one on his forehead, and then like go to the next one, and then do it again, and yeah, go to the next one.
I like that, because it speaks of that kind of individual religious observance, which is what I think I see happening here.
I would like to tell a story or two. I mean, I've seen stuff, and I've had ale now to loosen my tongue, and I'm not the best storyteller there is, but I can tell some sort of tale, and it sounds probably like a tall tale because it's stuff that has happened to me has been pretty much unlikely. I won't tell the tale about the boar, but something about like stone people rising out of a quarry and attacking people and turning people into stone and stuff like that.
I love that. And then you retire for the night, intending to set off further north tomorrow, I'm guessing. Or are you still heading for Elmete? I'm just checking. Okay. What's the first sign that the settlement is under attack? Anyone who fancies?
But by the settlement, you're talking about
the settlement you're in, Danum. Yes.
Wait, I missed something. it's being attacked right now, or it's previously it's recuperating?
No, it's the night after you've been listening to Eamon tell tales, and I'm asking what's the first sign. So Tucker, tell me what the first sign that the settlement is under attack.
Are we still in danger at that point, or
you are? You're in that barn,
and there's an active attack.
What's the first sign that the settlement is under attack?
I think it would be. I mean, since we're inside, I think it would have to be shouts. That you know, it would be sounds of people moving and yelling at an odd hour.
So it's the dead of night. There are shouts from outside the barn. Who wants to be the person to look outside?
I'll do it.
I want to look outside, but yeah, we can both do it. You're faster. Alun, you're muted.
So I am. Ulfric is racing up and armed and racing to the barn door, Eamon swiftly behind him. What do you see outside that confirms that this is an attack, Ulfric?
I'm thinking the archers with their arrows on fire and they're setting buildings on fire.
So we're seeing arrows, fire arrows arching across the sky and hitting the thatched roof opposite. Eamon, what do you see?
What do I see? We have fire, we have people running around shouting. I think it's not what I see, it's what I hear. I hear something at the front gate, like they're using some sort of ramming thing.
Brilliant.
Whatever it's called. And hitting the door is probably just a tree trunk or something, but that is I think Denham is maybe not that much fortified, more like a Game of Thrones city than like a medieval castle, so they might get through. Oh my god.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a wooden palisade around the settlement, which is outside what's left of the Roman settlement and Roman walls. So the back wall, if you will, is the original Roman wall, but there's a palisade surrounding most of the settlement with a gate. Icinius, people are stirring. Tucker is now up as well. What do you do?
I start opening myself up to the spirits. I'm listening. I'm not taking any action, but I'm just like listening. And I'm kind of following behind the group as they're moving towards the door and out the door-ish.
Well, let's see what the group's going to do. Ulfric, you were first there. What's your immediate reaction?
I'll run towards the fighting.
Right. What about Eamon?
Eamon is not running towards the fighting, but he will start rounding up women and children and people he can that shouldn't be in harm's way, that are running around, because I think that this will start to be chaos. And he will then, well, before he goes, he will tell Tuka and Icinius that he will do this and that they can either stay with him or do whatever they want, obviously, but, well, stay safe. Stay close if you can.
There's quite a lot in that. So in the first instance, Ulfric is herring towards the main gate. I think, Eamon, you see children, women rushing back from the gate area, where presumably they have cottages. Just describe to me, what do we see you doing? You said you protect them, you make them safe. What exactly do you do?
I grab people and tell them to get into some place that seems safe to me. I don't know, is there a castle or a stone house or anything?
Sadly not. There's the barn.
Well, that's flammable, right?
Sadly, all of Dagenham is flammable.
Okay, then I will tell them the attack is coming from the direction of the gates, right? Then I'll tell them to get to the back gates or something.
Fine.
Somewhere where I think they might be safe. I won't tell everyone. I will try to find people to tell them.
Okay, so you're kind of directing people away from the fight.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
Tuka, what do you want to do? Ulfric has already run towards the fight. Eamon is doing his best to kind of protect the innocents for the moment. What do you want to do?
I would take a quick assessment at that there are flaming arrows. I mean, are a lot of are these igniting things now? I mean, is there like a lot of
Certainly the thatched roof of the building opposite the barn is beginning to catch light.
Okay, so I think what Tuka does is grabs Bennis and makes her way out of the barn, and she's not going to go directly to the gate, but is going to kind of try to mark out a kind of circuit to come at it from the side, perhaps.
Okay, so rather than going down this, what is really a single main way, off which these buildings, these wooden buildings, thatched buildings, stand, she's going to go around the back of them, find the palisade, and follow it round towards the gate.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, Icinius, you've got a couple of options. Eamon is, having directed some traffic, is now beginning to head to the gate, I think I heard. Tuka is about to go leading Bennis behind the barn. At this point, you're not quite certain where she's going. Ulfric has already run towards the fight. What are you going to do?
So there are concerns of fire. They're fire, and then they seem to be coming from this one direction.
Yes, it looks like arrows are arching from the direction of the gate. Fire arrows are arching over into the settlement, just, randomly trying to set stuff alight.
Okay. Can I summon a storm?
You can do whatever the use magic move says you can do. So if you look down there for an effect, I'll listen to you.
Summon something into the world.
Yes. Yeah, you could summon something into the world. So do you want to summon rain into the world?
I want to summon like a storm, like rain and lightning and whatnot. And because at some point I might try to control the direction of the lightning. So
I think that given that use magic in this setting is relatively low key, I think what I'm going to do is put a limitation on that it would take you a long time for that kind of ritual. But you could summon an element now.
Okay. I am slowly falling behind, but following Eomen as I am taking my knife and again, like just reopening the cut on my hand. And I'm summoning rain right now. And so, yeah.
You can always build on that, once you've got rain. So, right, if you want to use magic, let's see how well that goes.
13.
We seem to be in an afternoon of extremes.
Yeah.
So that works perfectly, and I think you've got to. I'm just there's quite a lot going on somewhere. So you've got quite a special effects budget, Icinius. Spend it for me.
Okay, so I just got an improvement, so I got a hex. So I took hex. So I'm not sure how that. So yeah, as I'm following behind, it's a clear night, and the clouds just quickly from every direction. It's like they just kind of close in on us. The sky goes black, and it just starts raining, just a trickle, and then it's heavier and heavier and heavier. And at this point, any fires that are starting, because it's early on enough that they're just kind of quickly going out, and the roads are just quickly mud is just kind of seeping in, and it's just pretty like you just see the streams just kind of coming in, and it's just getting wet, and it's really just dramatic, and you hear one peal of thunder.
That's fine. So Ulfric, you have run towards the gates, where you can see the locals are lining up, and you can see every so often the gates are going boom, 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 as that battering ram that Eamon heard. And gradually you can see the bar across the grate beginning to crack and crack and crack. They are forming up into a shield wall. What do you do?
Is there a way to climb up over the gate so I can leap down on the attackers?
You could certainly, there's a tower on either side with a ladder up. You could certainly clamber up there. There are a couple of archers in each of the towers, either side of the gate, just trying to take out the ones on the other side. Once you're up there, I'll let you look about you and you can decide what to do. Shortly after that, Eamon, you will see the same thing. You can see Ulfric clambering up the ladder to a tower on the right of the gate. You can see a shield wall forming. What do you want to do?
I'm not a soldier really, but what I really want to do is to find something to protect and then ready my axe. I mean, I'm not too much in love with this, but hell, if these guys want to come to harm, I'm willing to do that.
So I suppose the simple question is, do you join the shield wall or do you stand behind it?
I have a bow.
Ah, fine. So are you going to try and find a vantage point?
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I have a bow and I don't have a shield, so I guess I'm going up there and shooting at the people, at the guys who are manning the battering rams.
Fine. So do you want to go up the same side as Ulfric or the opposite side?
Yeah, sure. Ulfric seems to be a nice guy.
Fine. So we see you run around the edge of the shield wall and begin to clamber up the ladder. Ulfric had reached the top. Tuka, you and Bennis have reached the palisade. There are at intervals ladders allowing you to clamber up to see over the top. What do you do? If you turn left, you'll head towards the gate. If you turn right, you'll head further away from the gate.
And is the palisade itself, is it absolutely solid? Are there any places where like an individual could squeeze through, or?
I think that you're probably looking about you then.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got a 9.
That's not bad. Do you want to boost that to a 10 if you wanted to make a case for fate? So you could ask me another question, or are you content with that?
I think I'm content with that.
So on 7 to 9, you get to ask me a question about the location situation. So you could just ask me that question, is this palisade safe?
Yeah, well, I guess I want to, yeah, the question is the wall of the palisade completely secure, or are there any small gaps where an individual could squeeze through?
It's constructed of tree trunks, so there are vagaries in those kind of tree trunks, and it would be pretty much safe if it wasn't that you could see an axe falling on some of the rope that is binding these uprights together.
Did you say I see an axe falling on the?
Yes, somebody outside is trying to break in away from the gate. I'll let you think about that for a moment while I cut to Icinius.
You just muted yourself, Alan.
So I did. You're walking through this deluge. behind you and around you, roofs, fires in roofs, thatch is getting so damp, the fires are going out, and you will see Ulfric at the top of a tower, Eamon climbing up to that tower, a shield wall between you and the gate. What are you inclined to do?
I am I'm finding a position and readying the bow and arrow, but I'm not really like focused on the bow and arrow. I'm just like readying, and I'm intentionally I'm trying to increase the power of the storm, because so that I can make my next move later. So the bow and arrow thing is more just physical movement than actually like I really know how to use it, you know.
Okay, I think that what I'm going to say then is that you clamber up on some bales and get up on on the roof. So you're behind the shield wall, looking down at the gate. Yeah, Ulfric. When you look over the top, what you see is a battering ram with about 20 warriors wielding it. But you are surprised that there isn't a large group of warriors behind that, because you would expect them to break through that gate and then have a load of warriors flood in. You can't see that kind of backup force. What do you do?
Is anyone close enough for me to jump down on?
You could certainly jump down on one of those, or two of those, perhaps, guys who are going to...
Yeah, we'll go for two. Share the love.
Fine. Just as you get to the top of the tower, Eamon, and are readying your bow, Ulfric clambers onto the rail that protects people from falling off the tower and jumps into space. Let's see how he does on landing. So I think initially, Ulfric, I need you to face danger to see how well this goes. Can you take two of these guys down without even having to fight them?
7.
On a 7 to 9, unless you want to bump that up. On a 7 to 9, the hard choice is you can take two of them down and disrupt the battering ram, but it will mean that you end up prone on the ground.
I've got a never again move that says when I'm protecting someone it's 10 loss, and I am protecting the settlement. Does that apply here?
I'm very happy. Read it to us.
So in combat, when you protect someone, you get a 10 plus without rolling, but you may not choose to suffer -1 harm.
Fine. So, and the protect someone move says on a 10 plus. So you do stop the battering ram. Yeah, because that's what you were aiming to do, I think. Yeah. And on a 10 plus, you choose one. You can suffer less harm. All impending danger is now focused on you. Yeah?
Yep, bring it on.
You also inflict harm as established on the enemy, or you hold the enemy back.
I was thinking actually land on the battering ram, sort of shield one in the face and axe another. So I've really pissed them all off.
Fine. To be honest, I quite want both things to happen. I want you to land at the front of the sharp end of the battering ram, knock them aside, and stand in front of the gate, holding the enemy off. Does that work for you fictionally?
Sucking chest wound, aren't I?
No, I think that was so effective. They've dropped the battering ram and they're kind of standing back, and you are now in front of the gate, shield and axe at the ready. Eamon, what do you do?
Woden!
Oh my God, this dude. I understand this correctly. There are just these guys with a battering ram and no other guys, right?
No, you would expect to see a whole force behind them.
Yeah, that was rush in. Oh, come on. I like that guy. So I'm going down to him to aid him because he shouldn't be alone. That's madness.
So then Are you aiming to protect him, or are you aiming just to get down there safely?
Safely? What safely? I will try to protect Ulrich, of course, because I like him. He seems like a nice guy.
Okay, then roll to protect someone. That's plus savage.
I've got an 8. I think that is very nice. No, we're not trying to escape. I'm not trying to negotiate. I'm using my weapon to protect him, so I get an extra plus 10 plus the benefit.
Okay, so I think you lay about yourself. I'm going to say that you take out one of the men who was knocked over when he landed on top of them, and we'll resolve the rest of how that develops in a moment. Meanwhile, Icinius, you've seen both of your friends, or one friend and someone you've come to know, jump from the tower into the who knows what's outside that gate. So think about what you're going to do while I go to Tuka, because Tuka has a more immediate problem, is that somebody is trying to break through the palisade away from the gate.
And from what I can tell, is this only is this only one person, or does it seem like this is more people, or it's happening other places as well?
It seemed like one person. Then you saw other axes falling across about a 4 or 5 pace frontage.
Okay, so I think when Tuka realizes this may not be just one individual, she's going to start to yell out, "It's not just the main gate. There are breaches on the entire palisade."
I'll be honest with you. You've got screaming and shouting going on across the place. You've got heavy rain pelting. You've got until this very minute there's been boom, boom. Right. The chance of anyone hearing you shout from where you are is tiny. That doesn't mean you can't do it, but
maybe that's a convince roll or something.
I think it probably is. Can you draw attention?
Okay, so the convince. So I get a 7 on the convince.
You will, I think, probably some women who have taken cover in the cottages near the edge of the wall are looking out questioningly at what you're shouting about.
I'm wondering also about spending a fate to boost that up, whether my trust that it seems that everybody's focusing on the front, and of course they need to have their attention directed elsewhere as well. It seems to me that this is some subterfuge that is going on, that I am kind of revealing to people, that the battering ram, they want people to be directed there because they want to take on these other ways to breach the palisade.
I think that's a very perceptive view to take. And I think the way I'll play this is, yes, you can, because I think what you need is for those women to trust you enough to either help you or go for help.
Right.
Yeah. So you can certainly spend a fate point and boost that to success, which means that lots of women are coming out of those cottages and saying, what should we do? What should we do? At your command. What do you want them to do?
I think what I will do is say, okay, some of you need to let those soldiers at the gate know that they need to focus some attention at other areas of the palisade, and others of you need to join me, because we need to let these people who are trying to breach the palisade know that they've been discovered, and that there are people there to fight them.
Okay, so one of them will run off immediately. Now, and so what I'm imagining is people are getting cooking vessels, they're getting pitchforks, They're getting knives, and wherever one of these axes comes in, they're poking out through with the pitchforks. Is that what you've got in mind?
Yeah, that's what I have in mind, and I'm certainly going to be putting myself at the front of all of it to kind of lead that charge against the people at the Palisades.
I think we now have the third of 4 characters rolling to protect Synhamm. So would you protect somebody, please?
Yeah, and this is with
Savage, I'm afraid.
Okay. So that comes out to be an 8.
So you successfully protect them. So you are driving, some of these men outside with axes are being driven back from the wall, but because they weren't expecting to find anybody around here. But I think you are probably going to take a point of harm simply because when you're kind of going, poking your knife out, maybe an axe comes down and catches your hand, or maybe you just bang your head on the wall when you're trying to get really close. So take 1 point of harm. And I think we will go back to Icinius. Icinius, a woman runs down the street that you're overlooking, and she's pulling somebody behind the shield wall saying, "They're over there, they're over there." What do you do, Icinius?
I look up to where she's pointing at, can I go in that direction from the rooftops?
I'm very happy for you to run across the rooftops to get there. I can't think of anything more exciting at this point in the movie than to see a 12-year-old boy leaping from roof to roof. We'll deal with how well that goes in a moment. For now, though, Ulfric and Eamon, I think you need to fight.
Can we resolve my protect denim move before we do that? Because we haven't done that before. Or because I think what I wanted to do, I wanted to protect Ulfric, really. And I will take some of the harm meant for him. Not all, he can fight himself. He's got a shield and stuff like that. But I will take some of the harm meant for him. And I had a 7. I had an 8. And I get to choose another one. I think I want to have established some harm, and I want to hold the enemy back, because that's what we're doing. I mean, we fell for the distraction, but there are 20 guys, so I guess if they are not in them, that's still a win for us.
Absolutely. Now, I think that there would have been 2 points of harm coming Ulfric's way. I think that one of those would come your way, but with your duck and dive, I think that you can simply avoid the swing.
I think that's not how if I take the harm from this move, I think that's where I'm really going in.
Okay.
I take the harm.
Fine.
Because I don't see myself ducking some harm would protect Ulfric.
Fair point.
Can't see that.
And Ulfric, you take a point of harm because not all of it could be distracted. But I think you both are in a position to hold them back. Yeah? What do you want to do? You have the advantage. Because this is a surprise, frankly.
I think I'm going to just sort of spin, bash, axe, and just sort of spinning through them, not focusing on one. I'm just trying to create confusion and carnage.
So that's what we see Ulfric doing. What do we see Eamon doing?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I mean, Eamon is a bit more disciplined, I guess. But he has an axe, and these dudes are trying to go for this place and all those people, and I think he will probably not go into a fight like that. He's been reckless enough for jumping down there. What he will do is he will put himself in harm's way to stop them getting into the city.
So that sounds more like protect Synhamm
yes.
than inflict harm.
Yeah.
You know, there may be harm done, but you aren't.
Yeah.
You're fine. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trained enough that I can inflict harm anyway.
Fine. So let's see how the whirling Saxon does to start with then. So roll fight, 2d plus savage, unless you've got a special move that kicks in, Ulfric.
7.
So on a 7, exchange harm. So how much harm do you do?
2.
They are, you know, if we were playing a pulpier game, they would be mooks. So 2 of them are cascading away from you, but they will do 2 points of harm on you. Now the shield will take 1.
And I've got armor, scavenge armor.
Fine. So the blows are simply taking chunks out of your shield or gliding off your patchwork of armor. Let's see how protect someone goes in terms of Eamon.
Yeah. Protect someone is with steel? Yes. Great. I'm better at that anyway. Yeah, okay, I've got 11.
I think protect someone is with savage.
No, protect someone is with... No, you're right. So I've got a 10. That's still good.
That works, doesn't it? So on a success, you protect Dainam by taking some or all of the harm that they would have taken.
I'm taking all of the harm right now.
I think that's probably a couple of guys coming at you with an axe.
Yeah.
Trying to get back to that gate and finish the job they started. So I'm going to suggest that there are 4 points of harm incoming, 2 from each of them.
Cool.
I am prepared to use duck and dive because I think it's
At that point, because I can see that this would be more like a fight, and I will of course choose that I will inflict harm on the enemy and I will hold the enemy back.
I think that works very well. And you can, so I think you put 2 guys down, you take that harm minus whatever armor, ducking and diving you've got, and combined with the whirling Saxon, I think we're down to half numbers out here now, and they are backing off from the gate.
Ouch.
Yeah. Icinius, let's see you jump from roof to roof as you head towards where that woman pointed. Face danger, I think, plus steel.
8.
On an 8, hard choice or difficult decision? Let me think. I think I'll give you a hard choice. You can get there, but you will take 1 harm on the way. Maybe you stumble, roll off a roof, fall, have to clamber up and get up again. Or you can not get there now. You can get here later.
Can we say that I fall off and land on some hay bales and whatever and land in the mud, so that delays my things. I don't want to. My harm's better used for magic than speed.
Fine.
Yeah.
Despite these athletic leaps, you end up in the mud but unharmed. Tuka, what are you doing?
Well, I'm there with at least this makeshift squadron. You know, when those people on the other side of the wall are discovering that they've been found out, does that impact at all? Are they continuing the assault here, or are they?
I think probably the way that we'd resolve that would be probably for you to roll protect someone, though I would let you now roll with advantage. So you've got quite a lot of people now trying to disrupt this entry. And if you choose hold the enemy back, I think that's what you're aiming to do here. Okay?
Okay. Yep, that sounds good. So I'm going to roll 3. And this is with...
This is plus savage.
Okay, so it was a 10, but it goes down to a 9. So it's a 9, and...
What a shame Icinius didn't arrive in time to help.
Yeah, so my choice here is...
You're muted, Alan.
You need to get to 10 to get the option to hold the enemy back. Given that the help from the other women is counted in the advantage, roll with advantage, you only have one option to improve that outcome, and that involves fate.
Yeah, and what happens when I go to 0 fate? Then I've just expended it all, and I can't use any more, correct?
I begin to make your doom happen.
Crazy idea. Could the donkey get panicked and sort of kick the fence and scare someone to like help?
Oh, I think that's too good not to use. Roll to help yourself.
All
Yeah.
right.
Help hinder. So roll plus steal for Benus to come to your rescue.
All right. So we'll see. Steel isn't my best attribute. Yeah, so that ends up I rolled a 10, so with steel that would be a 9.
I think Benus to the rescue. Benus turns to face the wall and wallops the wall, turning your protect into 10, which means that you do now get to choose which of those options under protect someone you want to apply. And as I think I said, if you choose you hold the enemy back, then that will drive them off.
Yeah, I think that's what I would do.
But sadly, I think that means you do need to take some of the harm that was coming Daenham's way. So you take 1 point of harm.
Right.
But I think there's what we've got is a couple of whirling dervishes at the front gate, seeing that diversion off. And now some god almighty thing has struck the wall from the other side. And you will hear the clatter of armor through this torrential rain as they scatter into the night. And that's when Icinius arrives.
I'm ready.
Just in time, Icinius. You should have seen it. It was glorious.
And I think at the same time, the diversionary force at the front will scatter into the darkness. Congratulations, you've seen off a raid on Daenham. What do we see you doing afterwards? You know, the rain is petering out. There's mud everywhere. People are just making sure the roofs are out. We see all of that. But what do we see you four doing? Let's start with Tuka.
I think what you see Tuka doing is when she realizes that this has been fended off, she will go off to just to the outside of the palisade to see what has been left behind, and also to maybe get a sense of how large a force this ultimately was. Because I'm suspecting that this was maybe not the only place on the Palisades where we had people trying to make some type of incursion.
I think, you know, war bands in this time are not enormous. So we're talking about tens of people, not hundreds. But my guess is that there might have been 20 on the ram, and there might have been another 40 trying to get in here. But they were expecting an easy pickings, and they didn't find it. And I think that, Tuka, you should mark the fact that Daenham, the women of Daenham specifically, owe you a debt. Yeah? Ulfric, what do we see you doing after this battle?
I'll just sort of... I'm going to go around the outside of town, make sure there's no one trying to sneak in somewhere else.
You'll probably bump into Tuka doing something of the same. No, it looks like they've scattered into the night. the fact that it started raining out of a clear sky suggests that the gods weren't with them anyway. But I think I can confirm that they were Saxons. Yeah?
I'm going to check the bodies in case, again, there's orders or coins that might sort of give away who told them to do this.
Look about you.
Seven.
On a 7 to 9, you get to ask me one question, I think, about the place, or you can choose to add a detail to the scene that changes or enriches the fiction, or ask me to do so. Who do you want to have been behind this attack?
The Lindsey guy.
Our everybody's bad guy, King Beda of Lindsey. Yes,
Yep.
There are clear signs that these men came from Lindsey. Yeah?
Yep.
Eamon, what do we see you doing after the battle?
I think first thing I'm going to do is try to find Tuka and Asinius. And I think I'm running into Tuka, right? Because she's going out, I'm going in, and then when I see her, I will really look relieved and smile and go up to her, and you can see that Aemon really wants to hug her, but that's not really appropriate, so he doesn't, and he gets on. Good to see that you're okay.
Tuka, what do you do when you get that distinct feeling that Aemon kind of wants to hug you, but kind of doesn't feel he can? What do you do?
I think Tuka is more than happy to have a hug, and so I think
Alejandro, mute yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when Tuka sees Eamon kind of being kind of awkward there, I think Tuka, without any awkwardness at all, will kind of go and give Eamon a big hug and say, we have done well today, Eamon. You at the gate and me at the breach and the palisades.
Our other guys, right? I'm so glad you're okay. Ouch.
Do you hug her back?
Of course. I mean, if she's hugging me, then I take that to mean that it's okay, yeah, because I really want to, but she's probably married or something.
Yeah, you've used that excuse before, I think, Eamon. But yeah, I think the audience has been waiting for this moment, and finally they get it. Okay, Eamon and Tuka hug. Isinius, what do we see you doing after the battle is over?
I'm exhausted. If I can cancel the weather so that it just kind of clears up, and
I'm prepared to have it just disappear without you having to do anything about it.
Yeah. I think that there's just like blood streaming down my arm, and I just go to the mule. I grab it by the reins and I just start leading it back to where we're sleeping. And I'm done with this event and I'm just going back.
Yeah, I think there's a great scene of you kind of taking the mule, this little boy, drenched, dripping, and the free hand. We just zoom in on the hand and we see blood dripping into the mud. And unless anybody else has got something to finish with, that seems to me to be a logical fade to titles. But is there anybody who wants to do anything else after the battle?
At one point, I would like for somebody to bind my wounds, but it doesn't have to be maybe immediately.
We'll assume that happens between now and the next session. Anybody else got anything they want to do before we close out? I'm deliberately not going to. Well, no, I will, because I'm going to assume that Ulfric isn't here next time. So the last thing we see, the post credits scene, is a little sense of what happens to Ulfric. What happens to Ulfric?
I'm thinking he'll say, you know, I'll see you around the area and wish you well in your journey, and we'll all be in good health, and we'll meet again. I have a feeling. And he'll get down on his knees and he'll sort of bow deeply to Icenius.
I don't even process that, and when I realize he's leaving, I give the best description of the tree that I can.
Yeah.
And then I just head off with the meal.
And I say, wait, and I hand him an apple.
I take it and I raise it and I eat it as I just go on.
And I think then, yes, we will see Ulfric heading off into the northeast, when the other characters will be heading off still towards Elmete, away from Danum, into the northwest.
Good question.
Go ahead.
Does Danham owe me a favor, a debt of honor? Because, I mean...
I think you're quite right. I think Danum owes each of you a debt. I should have picked that up when I did Tuka, but yes. I think Danum owes you a lot of debt. The women of Danum specifically owe Tuka a debt, I think.
So maybe Tuka has two debts, the women of Danum and Danum.
No, I think one's enough.
Okay.
But I think Icenius will get that because he's associated with this group of people who appear to have saved the town. Yeah?
How do you spell Danum?
D-A-N-U-M. Wonderful thing about Old English, sounds just like you were just writing it down. Okay. With that, I think I'll stop the. Oh no, let's do feedback. Let's do stars and roses and thorns and wishes, in whatever order you fancy. But shall we start with the character keeper, Robbie? Do you want to do roses and thorns?
Yeah, I liked Sabine. I liked the way you were playing Eamon, and I liked the way that this relationship between Tuka and Eamon is kind of continuing along. I think it has a lot of the rough spots along with a little spiciness to it, which I think is really quite fun. And Blake, for somebody coming in for just one session, that's often challenging, but I like the way that you kind of got right into the mix of things. That was kind of nice to see you kind of spotlighted many times.
And then that moves us logically to Blake.
Yeah, it was cool. I thought it all worked well. I got the genre and the system pretty well. That all worked. I like all of your characters. I enjoyed playing the game, so I'd happily play the all again. It all worked well. I can it's easy to visualize sort of what's happening and who they are, and yeah, it's an interesting story. I'll hit the subscribe button.
Thank you for that. Moving along, Sabine, roses or thorns?
Yeah, I liked the session. It was a lot of fighting, but hey, I mean, we had 2 fighting characters, so that was pretty spot on. I liked Ulfric, who just was there and was with the group, and that was okay. And I loved how Tuka didn't tell Eamon if she was married or not. I mean, she probably knows that he assumes she is, because she's a grown woman, so she'd be married, right? And I also love Icenius, who is sometimes so out of connection with the other people, and then I love that scene we had where we really connected for a bit. Yeah, Alun, I like the way that this Lindsey thread is played. I'm really curious to see what happens when we get to Elmete.
Great. Well, we'll find out in the next 2 sessions. And finally, Alejandro, any roses, thorns?
Yeah, I loved that scene with Tuka taking charge and really putting women on the map in this context. I really hope that like a wish would be that becomes like that would be really, really interesting to see like Tuka this leadership quality just really kind of coming forth. It was just, that was really exciting to see. I really dug how Blake, you so seamlessly brought Ulfric in and then out. It just worked. I mean, and I think that that's also commentary on you, Alan, and how you facilitated this just kind of entry and exit. It was very organic. It didn't feel ham-fisted at all. It was just like, that was like, yeah, of course, Ulrich just kind of joins us for as long as he does and then moves on. So I think that you both, Alan and Blake, really facilitated that really beautifully. Sabine, I am really excited to see how our relationship is developing and going, and yeah, that was a really satisfying. And I still like, there's not that connection between Isinias and Tuka yet, but how everybody's relationships are evolving is really satisfying and enjoyable. So yeah, this is a fun game. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I want to back up some of those. Yeah, thanks, Blake. I mean, it's tricky when you come in cold, but you came in hot. And I think, you know, we had an instant sense of Ulfric, so thank you for that, and thank you for allowing me to get a bit of foreshadowing in, and hopefully, if the wait list is necessary over the next couple of weeks, you will pop back at a point when we might get closer to whatever that peculiar nemesis might be it supernatural or not.
Sounds good.
Yeah, Sabine, I think that the whole, well, Sabine and Robbie, I think the whole Tuka, Eamon Tuka thing is really interesting. Quite where that's going to go, I think, is a fascinating kind of, because we, you know, all adventures need a love story. You know, is this going to go somewhere? Will Tuka ruin it by indulging her temptation to simple lust? Yeah, I mean, Isinias, and again, Isinias and that scene with Eamon, that kind of the first time we say Isinias beginning to believe maybe a grown-up might be worth having about, you know, and not just striking with lightning. So yeah, no, that was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and yeah, it was a bit fighty, but I felt that you know, it's the place you kind of have to go once you've got a Hammer of the Gods in play. And you know, you did hammer some gods, it must be said, Ulfric, and with some help from your friends. So yeah, I enjoyed that enormously. Any wishes for next time? I think I've got already something in the sense of the Tuka growing into her leadership qualities, and maybe an opportunity for Isinias and Tuka to develop something or to deepen the stuff with Eamon. Anybody else got any wishes? And Blake, that includes you. If there's something you would like to see, if you end up in the audience, not on screen, very happy to listen.
The thing that comes to mind is if there's like Isinias keeps cutting himself, and I'd like to think maybe there's some other mystic option so that that's not all he does for magic sort of thing. So if there's Fae in the world, maybe people are swapping favors, and he found out he can trade a favor with a nature spirit instead of stabbing his hand every time, sort of thing. Because who would get, you know, who wouldn't get sick of that?
No,
but, yeah, just, you know, alternate sorcery options, I guess.
Very happy to try to lean into that if we get that far, Alejandro, if you want to see Isinias doing this a different way. So far, blood is the route to power. Any other wishes?
I think my second wish still stands with the whole diplomatic thing, where I can roll for XP, really, because I will totally fail.
I mean, you say that, but you do have a special move for dealing with authority figures, don't you?
I do. Yeah, but it's only if I totally missed out on using it with the R because it's negotiating. Wait, request help. So yeah, I can use that. I have a smooth for that. That's amazing. I didn't even think that would work.
Maybe the Lady Kaya Delvia back in Synhamm sees more in you than you see in yourself. But yes, no, we will certainly try to get you to Elmete for a bit of diplomacy next time. Robbie, anything?
No, I mean, I think it's, from my point of view, going very well, and yeah, I think that I love the combination of giving us time for the characters to relate to each other, along with, you know, some of those outside forces that we're having to contend with in terms of both the forces of Lindsey, as well as, it seems like on the horizon, perhaps some monster that may be lurking out there as well, beside an oak tree.
You will know it when you see it. Alejandro, apart from what you've told us already about wishes, anything else you want to add?
No, I will say that, yes, this game was very fighty, but it really helped us build on characters. So it was very satisfying. So no, it wasn't, that wasn't an issue at all. So no, it was good.
Good, thanks for that. It's always tricky getting that balance right. So with that, I will stop the broadcast and we will wait. Oh, sorry, no, there is sorry.
Yes, I really would like to have a scene with Tuga when she binds Avon's wounds. I'm sorry, I would like that. It can be very short.
Do you want that now, or do you want it at the start next time?
No, next time's fine.
Okay, we'll do it at the start of next time, because you are in need of some help, it must be said. So with that, then I will stop the broadcast, say bye-bye to the internet.